time take to some type of spiritual practice, say chanting the holy name, with the idea that their reactions will be, they will have no reactions to their sinful ways if they chant the holy name. So it's a it's a deliberate, devious, you could say, plan to not give up sinful activities and to so-called be free from any reactions that might come. Yeah, and that's as opposed to someone like Ajamil, because I'm reading that chapter at the moment, Ajamil, about Ajamil. Now he was committing sin throughout his life. Yeah. As you know, he was living with a prostitute, etc., etc. And he was chanting the holy name, Narayan. So he actually was becoming freed from those sins. The difference is he was doing it innocently, without knowing. Understand? He wasn't doing it with a premeditation. So therefore, when the Yamadutas came to take him away, then the Vishnu Dutas came and said he is free of sin. So I think we're quite clear on the difference here. Depends on the mentality. So if someone is doing nonsense and then thinking, oh, it's okay, I can chant the holy name, then that's called an offense to the holy name of the Lord. Yeah. All right, and let's see what more it says here. So Mother Lavangalatika, you had your hand up first, I think, so you can take us into today's reading.
Yeah, we're starting at the scriptures declare.
That's correct, yeah.
Okay. And the scriptures declare that the holy name is so potent, it can neutralize more sins than one can commit, even in 100 million lifetimes. The most heinous of sins are counteracted just in the Namabas stage of chanting. That is why cheats and charlatans take up chanting the name. They forsake the responsibilities of household drudgery and, hiding behind the renunciant's attire, travel from country to country. Their hearts are laden with desires for wealth and women. You have described such persons as markete viagris, or monkey renunciants. Some persons play act as renunciants while maintaining a household mentality. These men are deadweights upon Mother Earth and human society, and should be avoided. A devotee who has taken shelter of the holy name can live in any situation, in household life or in the forest as a hermit. If the household situation is conducive to chanting, then the life of a mendicant is unnecessary and wrong. But if household life is unfavorable, the devotee is duty-bound to forsake home. It is a terrible offense to commit sins on the strength of chanting. This offender is forever banished from the path of devotional service. Devotees in the Namabas stage of chanting must beware of such cheating company, because it will have an evil influence on them. They will fall into committing this dreaded Nama aparad. Those who chant the pure name are free from Nama aparad. Devotees who have taken complete shelter of chanting the pure name are never prone to commit any of the 10 Nama aparads. The holy name itself protects the pure devotees who have surrendered themselves to the pure name. But as long as the pure name has not dawned in the heart of the devotee, the danger of committing Nama aparad is always threatening. Therefore, devotees in the Namavas stage have to particularly avoid this offense of committing sin on the strength of chanting. A devotee must seek the association of pure devotees who chant the holy name offenselessly, and should be very alert against committing offenses. One who chants purely is of fixed mind and consciousness. He never deviates from thought, even for a moment. As long as one has not strengthened his chanting to this point and has not fully surrendered to the holy name, he must be very vigilant to avoid offenses. He must especially guard against the offense of committing sin on the strength of chanting. He should continuously chant the holy name and thus attract his spiritual master's mercy, which gives perfect knowledge of eternal relationship. This knowledge contains the science of pure devotion and the pure holy name. If by some error this Nama aparad is committed, one must search out the assembly of pure Vaishnavas. The propensity to sin is like a highway robber who accosts the wayfarer. The pure devotees are the guardians of the path, who come to one's aid when the devotee calls aloud for their help. Just hearing that call, the robber immediately runs away, fearing that the guards will come. The guardians, the pure Vaishnavas, will console the devotee with soothing words and assurances of their protection. I, the author of Harinam Chintamani, am a useless wretch. I impart this composition, having taken shelter of pure Vaishnavas.
Okay. I think here, in this paragraph which we're highlighting here, and this is seen quite widely in India. You're not going to see that much here, where so-called persons dressing as sadhus, going from place to place, yeah, in the dress of a sadhu. It says here they're traveling from country to country, but that in context, that means that would mean from state to state in India. Sometimes they call like Bengal is one country, and Orissa is another country. You understand? Yeah. So that's quite a big. It's quite a big industry in India. There must be thousands of persons dressed as renunciates, so-called vairagis, so-called renunciates, but all very much after wealth, adoration, etc., etc. Yeah, I'm sure we've come across that, or we've seen that in India. Yeah, they take to the hearts are laden with desires for wealth and women. Yeah, and there's all types of unmentionable things that they will do. So-called sadhus and that so-called sadhvis as well, also women. Yeah, so they. Anyway, remember we spoke about this a little bit in when we were speaking about the Upper Sampradayas, and the different groups of Upper Sampradayas, the Bowls, the Gorangan Hagris, etc. And there's one of them I can remember. One of them we was discussing how anyone who's chanting the holy name is considered to be pure. Even if they're doing impure things, then it's not to be considered. The fact that they're chanting the holy name makes them pure. That's their philosophy. So even if they're smoking bhang, they're smoking hashish, they're engaging in illicit activities, that's not to be considered because they're chanting the holy name. Yeah? And they travel from village to village, the so-called entertaining with bhajans, etc. And they pick up women from one place and travel to another place and pick up another woman like that. No, any more on that? That's why here it's very clear. This is where we're actually being taught what is the pure holy name. So Haridas Thakur is making it very clear what it means to be a real chanter of the holy name. Right? Any comments or questions on this?
Bro, I was just wondering.
Yes.
The
voice is breaking up a bit there. Now we can't hear you, Mother. If you turn off your video for a few minutes and just, that's it, try. I'm afraid we cannot hear.
Okay, maybe that's better. Yeah, okay, I'll ask later. Okay.
If you want, you can put your question in the chat.
I'll ask it later.
Okay, let's try it later.
You sound all right now. Try.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I was just wondering, because like these people who are offenders to the holy name, committing sin, they're not conscious, I guess, that they're committing sins, or they're committing offenses against the holy name, because they actually believe in what they're doing. to some extent, like the Sahajiyas. So, but people who actually do things like, you know, say for instance, devotees, they will, they might like go to movies or go to karmi restaurants and then chant. Is that also cheating? Because they're thinking, I'll get this sense enjoyment and then I will chant, and, you know, Krishna will tolerate it, or I don't know what the mentality is, but do you know what I mean? Is that cheating also? Because you're aware of the implications of doing these things, like going to the movies is very contaminating for the consciousness. So is that like offensive or just disrespectful, or what would that be?
In the first instance, you mentioned a case of, say, we just spoke about the Sahajiyas, and you mentioned that they have a philosophy, or so-called, whereby which for them the holy name is supposedly the purifier. So therefore it purifies you from any sinful acts. So, but that in its and they're leading a sinful life. But for them, if they're chanting the holy name, they're considered to be pure. Now, that's called ignorance of the tattva of the holy name. Where they get that so-called philosophy from, who is to know? Yeah, where they get that from, or what so-called Sahaja Sampradaya. Yeah, so basically what's happening there is that they're becoming more and more implicated in materialistic life, and their chanting is just a farce. So they are just gross materialists who happen to be chanting the holy name with no intention of giving up their sinful ways. So they are gross materialists, and they're not going up. They will be going downwards. Their life is inauspicious. Yeah. It's even worse, actually, because at least in the West, you got persons who are acting in a, say, a wayward, sinful way, but they're not proclaiming to be religious, isn't it? They're just, you know, they're drinking alcohol, they're doing this, they're doing that, but they don't claim to be religious. They're honest about what they're doing is completely irreligious. But these persons who you first mentioned, if I've understood right, these persons are just acting just like, even worse actually, the things they do in the name of their practice, as we mentioned before. We won't bring it up, but they proclaim to be religious. They actually proclaim to be pure because they chant the holy name. So you can imagine the innocent persons who are affected by their bogus way of life and their bogus philosophy. So like their future is very dark, and their future and that holy name is not purifying them. Yeah, it's to say it's a different mentality. Is Ajamil is an interesting story that's included in the Bhagavatam, because Ajamil was innocently chanting. Although he was leading a debauched life, he wasn't claiming to be religious. He kind of understood, at least at the end he understood. I don't know if that answered the first part of your question. And the second part of the question, I think we have mentioned it before, but that's exactly what it may lead to. It kind of gets subtle. That's why it said here, I kind of thought of that actually, when it said we have to be very careful that we are not being, that we are not committing this offense. And that's how subtly it may manifest. Yeah, well, it's not very subtle actually, it's quite gross. So if I let things slip a bit, then it's not so bad. I will go to a holy name retreat with Satyananda Maharaj, and I'll be all right. Yeah. But there's nothing, one sense, if someone does fall away from the principles, or they become a little bit lax in spiritual life and they become not so strict, then the mentality should be to admit that, and not to try to, not to think that, it's not to think that it's okay because I'm going to chant the holy name. But if the mentality is, I'm such a wretch, I have fallen into bad association, I went round my cousin's house and I drank wine at the dinner table, then I watched this movie, then this, then my life, I made a mess of my spiritual life, I'm such a wretch, let me get myself back together again, let me chant the holy name. You see the difference? You see the difference there? Then they will get the shelter. Then they will get the shelter of the holy name. But if one is, you see the difference? It's kind of subtle. In the first scenario, one is kind of really they're using it exactly on that. They're doing wrong things on the strength of the holy name. So they're going to continue doing the same thing. But someone who kind of falls away from strict practice, then they at least should become a little bit thoughtful, a little bit repentant, and then they get their life back together again by actually chanting the holy name. But they want to be quite determined not to fall back, not to go back to the place where I have just come from. I don't know if that's overcomplicated, but did that help, Mother Latika? Or anything further on that?
Yes, yeah, no, that helped. But yeah, I guess it might be like maintaining material attachments more than sitting on the strength of the holy name.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, so that's an offense as well. They're maintaining, they're actually meditating and maintaining.
Yeah, it might be that rather than, sitting on the strength of chanting the holy name.
Yeah, perhaps might be more than. But it wouldn't surprise me if there is there will be some kind of quote unquote faithful pray or trap church. My voice is coming in and out. But...
Yeah, I don't think most sincere devotees would, if they went, like watched a movie or movie or something, I don't think they'll come back and think, oh, I did that, I need to really chant because I did that. I don't think they think like that, Sometimes they might do that with a family or something like that. I don't, but the consciousness, I don't think would be like, oh, okay, let me nullify this by chanting.
Well, that's good. That's
what my thinking of devotees is.
Yeah.
Like.
Anyway, here we're hearing about persons who do.
Yes.
Here we're hearing about persons who do. So at least we should look out that we don't fall into that mentality. Otherwise, we won't be able to. We won't get the shelter of the pure name. All right. Let's see. Well, that was 9. All right. So let's go to 10, shall we? So perhaps we have Mother Rajkishore. You like to?
Don't answer quickly because we're all muted, so it takes time.
Mother Rajkishore, you can hear me?
Yes.
You can pick up the reading number 10. Yeah.
Okay, chapter 10, Instructing the glories of the holy name to the faithless. All glories to Lord Sri Gauranga, the life of Sri Gadadhar Pandit. All glories to Lord Nityananda, the heart of Srimati Jahanav Devi. All glories to Sri Advait Acharya, the Lord of Mother Sita. All glories to Srila Sivas Pandit and to all the devotees of Lord Chaitanya. With his hands folded and in a soft voice, Srila Haridas Thakur said, now please hear about another Namaparad. The first essential requirement for chanting Krishna's holy name is Shraddha, or firm faith. One who is bereft of it cannot hear the name and is therefore unfit to chant. High birth, respectable family, knowledge, strength, learning, or wealth are not qualities that make a person eligible to chant the name. The scriptures extol Shraddha to be the one indispensable ingredient for proper chanting. Lord Krishna's name is the Jiva's most valuable treasure. Shraddha means to have complete conviction that chanting Lord Krishna's name will automatically fulfill all duties and complete all pious activities. Those who do not possess such faith are unfit to chant. According to Vaishnava etiquette, the person who does not have Shraddha for the name should not be initiated into chanting. If a faithless person is initiated into chanting or is instructed about the glories of the holy name, he will only defile and disrespect the name. This is the statement of the scripture. The swine will crush the pearls strewn before it, and a monkey will tear the cloth it is given. A faithless person will similarly commit increasing offenses to the holy name and thus invite his doom. Simultaneously, the initiating guru will be dragged down by his share in these offenses. Very soon, he will leave the path of devotional service. A faithless person may slyly come to the Vaishnava to beg initiation into chanting. The sadhu should see through this ruse and refuse him initiation. The Charlton devotee presumes the holy name of Krishna is the all-purifying agent. Once I receive the name, I won't have to worry about committing sins. Besides, by chanting all the time, people will respect and worship me as a Vaishnava. Then I can accept a goodly amount of service from them. The prestige I've lost by my sinful deeds will be regained fully by chanting. Another loss will never occur again, and I shall enjoy immense material benefit. A sadhu should demand of the pretender full repentance of his dishonesty. To become worthy of initiation, he must at once denounce his desires for distinction and adoration, and should instead try to develop Shraddha for the holy name. Only when Shraddha for the holy name is present can one be initiated into chanting. The holy name then takes the chanter across the ocean of material niceness. But as long as one has not developed sufficient faith in the holy name, he is unfit to chant. One should hear the glories of the holy name from a saintly Vaishnava. Becoming humble by hearing his instructions, he must cast aside material desires and begin to chant. When the Vaishnava spiritual master perceives a proper degree of Shraddha in the candidate, he initiates him into a greatest spiritual treasure, Krishna's holy name. But to initiate a faithless person is an abominable offense. The guru goes to hell if he gives initiation to a faithless person for material benefit. If a guru knows that the person who has approached him for initiation is an insincere, faithless pretender, yet he heedlessly initiates him simply for the material gain, he commits a heinous offense against the holy name. If a guru was unable to make the correct assessment and thinking the disciple to be sincere and faithful, gave him initiation only to later discover that he is a pretender, he must make immediate redress for his mistake. Remedy for Namaparad.
Perhaps we'll just pause there because quite a bit was said there. Any questions on this? Or
Hare Krishna Prabhu,
Yes.
what immediate redress? What would Guru do?
so immediate redress means to perhaps mention the mistake in the assembly of Vaishnavas and to omit their oversight. oh, I have done this. This person actually is insincere. So I have done a wrong. Yeah, please, you Vaishnavas, guide me. Yeah. So it says if he later discovers that he is a pretender, then one should admit, I've done a mistake, my Lord. You please forgive me. Yeah. And that will save him from going to hell. It's a spiritual master.
Would this guru take away the mercy when he finds that this is a pretender and he fooled me into initiating him?
Well, no, that's different. Now, sometimes, like, let's try and create what is being said there. Like, for example, someone, there may be a guru, like say a big guru, and there's a certain there's a certain amount of say prestige that may come from being initiated as, or being initiated into the holy name. So the guru, if that is, let me tell it from another angle. Okay, sorry, just scrub that out. So someone is very wealthy, someone is very influential. Say they maybe have influence in politics, they may be influential within a province, within a country. Yeah, they're quite materialistic. But they approach a guru to take initiation. That initiation is out of a sense of pride, to be known and to gain respect. Yeah. Now the guru, if they and the guru may wrongly, now this would be wrong. Oh, this person, they're not so sincere about spiritual life, but actually they're very influential. And if I give him Diksha, he was a good chance he's going to give me lots of money. Well, there's a good chance he's going to have some influence to like serve my purposes and the needs in the government, say, for example. So then the guru gives him initiation. That's the type of guru who would then actually, quite drastically, fall away and go to hell. You understand? So this guru is initiating this person because of pride, because he will get wealth, because he will have some influence, you know? So the guru, even though the guru may understand or see that actually about spiritual life, about spiritual practice, I've got my doubts about it, but actually this person's a multi-billionaire. So it'd be great, yeah, I'll give him Diksha. So therefore, that is called an offense. That's instructing the glories of the holy name. It comes under that offense. Yeah, so is that very clear what's being spoken of here? But if someone is being if someone's just made a mistake and then they regret it, then they pray to the Lord, oh my Lord, I've given Diksha to this person who's turned out to be a pretender. This person has turned out to be not a devotee of any credit at all. This person's turned out to be a demon. Please forgive me, my Lord, for this transgress. I was in ignorance and I didn't know. Yeah. Then one will not get a reaction for that. Is that clear? Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. So yeah. Anything else on this? So we should be careful as well of who we tell the glories of the holy name to. But I thought these were very good examples, and it's quite interesting how it matches exactly. Where was that? Yeah, 2 examples here. If you throw pearls before swine,
And cloth.
yeah, they will crush it. They have no appreciation. Yeah. If you put sweetmeats before swine, I think that's a quote from the Bible, actually. I think to cast pearls before swine. So if you're preaching the glories of the holy name to someone who doesn't have faith, someone who thinks the Hare Krishnas are all mad, the Hare Krishnas are kind of out of it. They're just a bunch of weirdos, saying a Western misconception. But then you stop that person. Oh, the holy name is not different from the Lord. You know, that person's just like giving pearls to a swine. It's the ignorant swine is just going to sniff it and then crush it or whatever. And then if you dress a monkey in a nice silk sari, what's the point of that? There's a nice silk, nice border, nice silk sari. So it's an interesting example, but it explains it very nicely, because both the person who has no faith is in ignorance. So if you preach them about the glories of the holy name, that's why we should be a bit careful when there's a Harinam, and sometimes we stop on Harinam and we make an announcement. You've got to be careful what we say. Best to keep it very basic. This will make you happy. Please come to our temple. Hare Krishna. Please repeat after me. Don't say, this sound you're hearing is coming from the spiritual world. It's none different from God himself. Then you're preaching to drunk people, persons who think we're crazy, and they think what you're saying is crazy. They laugh at you, and then they will make offenses to that holy name. So, you know you have to be a bit careful.
But that is what happens on Saturday Night Harinam.
No, they don't explain the details of the tattva of the holy name. They might say, this will make you happy. They won't say this is a name. Oh, I don't know. Perhaps I don't go so often. Perhaps you know more than me.
Yeah, sometimes it is a bit. I mean, no, it's about the holy name. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, this is like meditation.
Like it comes from the spiritual world. They do say, oh, this is spiritual sound, spiritual vibration. They might say it comes from the spiritual. Actually, I don't know exactly. So
anyway, we just have to be a bit careful. We have to be careful what we say about the holy name and who to. If persons have faith, then we can tell them everything we know, or everything within our anything that we about the holy name. Yeah, someone comes to the temple and they sincerely want to know. Yeah. But we should ask such questions first to try and fathom out where they're coming from before we might tell them about the different aspects of our philosophy. Yeah, it doesn't take much. Ask a few questions, Have you met us before? Have you read our books? Are you coming from a spiritual background? There's a few questions just to understand where they're at. And then you can preach accordingly. Don't just, there's, I won't mention the name, but some devotees get upset about one particular person who's in the temple. This person, anyone walks in the door, they just get it. They just get the preaching, and they don't even ask them any questions. So some devotees have complained about that, that style of preaching. You actually need to be very personal, ask people questions, and like that. Right. So, you would like to continue? Another couple of paragraphs.
Yes. Okay. If by inadvertence and lack of experience, a mistake such as instructing and initiating a faithless person occurs, the initiating spiritual master should be filled with fear and remorse. He has to publicize his offense before the Vaishnava community and reject that insincere disciple, excommunicating him. If the guru fails to act promptly, he will gradually sink into the depths of the moral depravity and illusion, and be disenfranchised from the path of devotion. O Lord Chaitanya, your instructions to those you have ordained to propagate the holy name warn exactly about this. You have explained that preachers must properly instruct the Shraddhavan, persons with Shraddha, about the holy name of God. In this way, the whole world must be inundated with the chanting of the glories of the holy name. With loud congregational chanting, the holy name should be propagated widely. Those who are sincere will come forward and choose a bona fide guru, receiving initiation into the name from him. By sincere chanting, they will surely obtain love of Godhead, Krishna Prem. Prostitutes, criminals, cheaters, and other sinful people should be made to give up their unrighteous, injurious ways. Sincere Shraddha should be implanted in their hearts. When their Shraddha in Krishna's holy name matures, they must receive initiation. This is the duty of a preacher as he goes from place to place, teaching everyone. If without paying heed to your instructions, a guru initiates an insincere pretender, he commits grievous offenses for which he goes to hell. The namaparada committed by the Charlton disciple slowly but surely diminish the guru's spiritual potency. Finally, the guru is ruined. This offense has a devastating effect on both the guru and the disciple. They both must enter the hell.
Krishna.
My dear Lord, you are very merciful to Jagai and Madai. These brothers were born in a Brahmana family, but they became known as the worst reprobates in Navadvipa due to their virulently violent acts. Their original names were Jagadananda and Madhavananda.
Wow.
For you invoke Shraddha in them, and then you gave them the holy name. O Lord, your character and activities are exemplary. They shine like beacons across the world. Let everyone follow your wonderful example. Those who are the servants of Vaishnavas will find in this Harinam Chintamani a priceless gem.
Okay. So it's quite interesting. Here we're hearing about someone who chants the holy name, someone who gives initiation. There's a chance they can go to hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are persons who perhaps have chanted it. Yeah, he was speaking about those who have taken to the chanting of the holy name, but have a corrupt, devious mentality. It says both the guru and disciple must enter hell. I don't know. Let's just take it as it is, whether Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is getting quite carried away here, or Haridas Thakur, but here it is, quite straightforward. Someone who may have Naam, have japa beads, and chant Naam, but they're completely in a hellish mentality. So they go to hell. Right. Wow. How long they stay there, I don't know.
Surely the guru, first of all, he gave innocently and then realized this is a mistake. But he also has to go to hell.
No. Let's be clear on that. They still describe what should happen. Describe, but they will assembly of Vaishnavas, they will beg for forgiveness. They will be repentant. It's said here, they will be filled with fear and remorse and publicize his offense before the Vaishnava community. And then he should reject that insincere disciple. Then he will not. That's a different category. So that person won't go to hell. Yeah, Krishna will forgive them. The Vaishnavas will forgive and Krishna will forgive. So that's, yeah. Is that clear? Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. All right. So 11. Okay, interesting. Equating chanting with pious activities. What's the how do we say that when we say the 10 offenses? This one. To consider the names of the holy, like pious activities.
Ritualistic activities.
Yeah, often in the Vedas as karma kanda.
Yeah.
So the chanting of the holy name, although it is pious, but actually it's not the same piety as mundane acts of charity, mundane religious acts. It's in a completely different category. and to equate the two to be on the same level, that's an offense. So in other words, by digging a well, by funding a hospital, you know, if you chant the holy name, it's the same. It's not. The holy name cannot be considered in that category of mundane, religious, or pious activities. Yeah? If someone considers it to be equating, if they equate the holy name, then this is an offense. So we're going to hear about that now. Okay, let's ask Mother Chandravali, you'd like to read? You have your hand up.
Okay. Chapter 11, Equating Chanting with Pious Activities. All glories to Lord Gaurachandra, the very incarnation of the holy name. All glories to the holy name of the Supreme Lord. The Lord's holy name is the essence of all Vedic conclusions, the original form and status of the holy name. Srila Haridas Thakur continued, O Lord, other pious activities can never be equal to chanting the name. The Supreme Lord is the transcendental Son, and his divine form is fully spiritual. This is the wonderful and mysterious truth. All his deity forms are absolute. They are transcendental, just like his name, abode, pastime, etc. All his direct names are non-different from him. Unlike objects made of inert matter, which are separate from their names, the holy name of the Lord, chanted by a pure devotee, descends directly from Goloka, the spiritual sky. The pure name then emanates out of his soul and permits his entire body.
Permeates means it spreads throughout his whole body.
Like a consciousness?
Yeah, permeates. Yeah, it spreads throughout his whole body.
His entire body, dancing on the top of his tongue. One who chants with this understanding is actually chanting the name. Otherwise, one who nourishes a material concept of the name is drowned in despondency. He suffers eternally in hell, and a devotee should
Is
never...
that eternal in hell again? Do you remember I brought that up before? Eternally in hell. We have no concept of eternal hell, but here it's mentioned. Yeah, carry on.
And a devotee should never see his face. The scriptures have unequivocally declared the Supreme Lord Krishna to be the only subject and object of research, and the process to find him has likewise been clearly indicated. According to the individual researcher's ability, this singular process became many. Thus, different paths like karma, jnana, bhakti, etc. sprang up. Those who are engrossed in materialism are recommended to pursue the path of karma for purification of consciousness. For souls deluded by the illusion of Maya, the suggested path is cultivation of monistic philosophy. And for the rest of the jivas, pure devotional service is most suitable. What is karma? Persons absorbed in material life begin to worship the Supreme Lord out of fear of death. The Lord's lotus feet are the perfect shelter, free from anxiety. They are the only means to cross over the unlimited ocean of nescience. But when the process to obtain the protection of the Lord becomes colored by material motives, it becomes mundane. Even though the Lord is being worshipped, because the process of worship is mundane, it is known as pious activities or subkarma. Subkarma includes altruistic work, sacrifices, ablutions, and holy baths. 5 sacrifices, charity, yoga, the practice of Varnashram Dharma, pilgrimages, vows, offering to the forefathers, meditation, cultivation of empirical knowledge, propitiation of demigods.
That means to ask, that thing that means to seek their benedictions to seek their mercy. Let's just look up.
Propitiation
Action of addressing a god or a person, yeah, or praying to,
the demigods.
yeah.
Okay. So the set of devotees. Okay. Penances, austerity, etc. All these activities are on the mundane platform. Gradually, through this mundane process, the performer obtains the goal of all his performances, the Supreme Lord. At this junction, he abandons the temporary mundane process. He is not attracted anymore to its material ways, for he now knows the genuine essence of all religious duties. He has found devotional service to the Lord Bhakti. The process of pious activities.
Any questions about that? We're clear on this. It's making a very clear distinction here. Fire sacrifice, even Vanashram, interesting word, Subhakarma. I haven't heard that before, Subhakarma.
Sub is auspicious, right? Auspicious.
Yeah. Let me just, they are the only means, because, let me just go back 1 second. I'm asking because I'm not clear myself. So persons of all the material life begin to worship the Supreme Lord out of fear of death. Yeah. So this is not bhakti. The Lord's lotus feet are the perfect shelter. Well, not pure bhakti anyway. Free from anxiety. They are the only means to cross the unlimited ocean nations. But when the process to obtain the protection of the Lord becomes colored by material motives, it becomes mundane. So it's not pure. If it's not pure, then it's mundane. If it's covered by Gana Mishra. Mishra means to be mixed. Kama Mishra, Gana Mishra. Yeah. Even though the Lord is worshipped, because the process is mundane, so Kama Mishra, it's mixed in there is a material motive. Yeah. Because the process of worship is mundane, it's known as a pious activity. Interesting.
Yeah, it's
Subha Karma. It's known because it's not pure. So anyway, so Bhagwan Thakur is given quite a he doesn't give much credence to mixed devotional service. He's preaching the glories here of pure devotional service. Anyavilasta Sunyam. So then he mentions also included in this category is these other charitable things, etc. So it's all on a mundane platform. So they may obtain the goal. Interesting here, all these activities on the mundane platform. Gradually through this mundane process, the performer obtains the goal of his performances, the Supreme Lord. Yeah, everyone can help us with this. That's a misunderstanding it.
To me, that paragraph sounds like, most Indian families like go pilgrimage, offer offerings to forefathers, cultivation, like most of them go to the holy places, have a quick bath or do some fire sacrifices at home.
Yeah.
Charity or do some kind of.
Yeah, I think the last part.
So it's like Shubh karma. It's like karma, but Shubh is auspicious karma.
Yeah, but actually, and at the end of it, explains it a bit more clearer for me, is that if that brings them to Sudan or Sudanam, or that brings them to pure devotion, that contact, although their approach is mixed, they actually come in contact with Krishna. Say you got someone, you gave the example of the classic Hindu type person. They go to the temple because it's pious, to get the blessings of the gods, blessings of the gods for the family. They come and they start to associate with the pure Vaishnavas. and they take up pure devotional service. And then they abandon, then they're no longer attracted by the material ways. Yeah. They've found devotional service to the Lord, bhakti. All right, it's okay.
Yeah, because that offense is karma kanda thing, isn't it? You rise up.
That's it. Yeah, you're right. So it's talking about the classic yoga ladder. Yeah.
So then they will rise up. By doing all these activities, eventually they'll rise up.
All right, so now they've come to devotional service. So you can continue reading. Oh, we've got a few minutes left.
Maybe, can you read? My throat's not so good.
The Ajiva's contact with matter gives rise to his discontent and suffering. This is all by the master plan of providence. I was writing about this just recently, yeah, which gradually guides the jiva to perfection. So the material world is made perfectly to be imperfect. And it's the Lord's plan to direct us to use our free will in the correct way. So, you know, there's suffering in this material world. To say there's evil and there's suffering, but it's this to serve a purpose, is to make the jiva, is to create an existential crisis for the jiva. So they begin to question their existence, you know, or the point of life. And that's part of what's described here. That's the master plan of providence. Yeah. It guides the jiva. That will gradually, very gradually maybe, Bohanam Janman Ante, that will cause them to search for meaning. And if you're searching for meaning, if you're sincere in searching for meaning, then you have to come to God. If you're really sincere about that. Yeah. So yeah, the conditioned souls cannot exist without close contact with matter. Yeah, this body. All their activities and thoughts are intimately woven into the fabric of materialism. Pious activities provide the means for the jiva to approach pure devotion through material contact. All right. That's why Bhagavad Gita says we shouldn't disturb the minds of ignorant persons. We shouldn't stop there. Instead, we should engage them in acts of devotion. Yeah. Therefore, Shubha Karma is indeed a viable path for any conditioned soul to approach the ultimate goal, love of Godhead. Yet one fact must be clearly stated. Reaching perfection through Sudhakam is a time-consuming affair. So it could take millions of lifetimes. The ultimate object is Krishna Prema, which is fully spiritual. But these pious activities, mixed devote, is mundane. Thus, there is a gulf of difference between the means and the objective. Out of his causeless compassion, the Supreme Lord incarnated as the Holy Name, making himself available to the jivas. Thus, the Holy Name is accepted by the pious jivas as the best means for perfection. The scriptures recommend the Lord's name as the most efficacious, most successful in providing the desired or intended result. Okay. Means to obtain the absolute. But the jivas misunderstood this to mean that chanting is one of the subha karmas. Okay. So we understand where we're going now, yeah? They think that the chanting is the same, that they've been doing pious acts, this, that, you know, and then they come in touch with the holy name and they think it's in the same category. Yeah. Mistake, big mistake. Yeah. This misconception is similar to Lord Vishnu being seen as another demigod like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma. Yeah, it's just about to strike 6 o'clock. Any is that a bit more clearer, huh? Where we're going on this? Any final comments on this? Subha karma, we've learned a new word today, subha karma. Yeah. So it may bring one to bhakti, but then to equate what brought you to bhakti to be the same as bhakti is a mistake. To put it in the same category. Yeah? No, the means and the ends in this context are different. He said there's a big difference. All right. All right, so there's something on the offenses to the holy name. So keep this in mind while we're chanting the holy name. There's going to be an initiation ceremony tomorrow, isn't it? Indraduma Swami? Yeah. So he will be speaking on the offenses to the holy name to like some degree. So now we've been hearing about it, so hopefully we're better to understand more. All right, so let's stop there then for today. For this, where are we? Wednesday, isn't it? So tomorrow we have
We had Bhagavatamita.
we have Bhagavatam. So
The nectar. The
yes,
nectar.
those who've joined us for that, looking forward to being with you tomorrow for tomorrow's Krishna Katha. And thank you for being with us. And we're fools here. Okay.
His Grace Muli Prabhu ki jai. Thank you so much. Hari bol, everyone.
Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare Krishna.
Hari bol.
Tomorrow.